Why do we choose avoidance and narcissists? I get this question asked all the time. So, the reason why we do this is we have subconscious tendencies and we have beliefs about ourselves and we have wounds that we're trying to heal. And sometimes we get bamboozled by these types of partners because we think when we meet them that they are the love of our life. And then we wake up and realize, wow, I'm being breadcrumbed. I'm not getting what I give back. It's unbalanced. They're not choosing me. I feel unloved. And actually, what's going on is you're seeing those subconscious beliefs about yourself that are being brought up through that relationship. This is kind of an intense video, guys, but if you don't know me, my name's Deborah. I'm a transformational healer and intuitive coach. And what I teach is release work through energy healing. And I help you to see that what you are projecting into the field, what you are thinking about yourself, what you're thinking about others, what you're thinking about that person is exactly what you're going to experience. Whatever we are thinking is what we are creating. And so this doesn't come out of left field. This is from Lester Levinson, who started the Sedona method. And my teacher was a longtime student of Lester Levinson, and she taught me releasing, and I incorporated it into my practice. So let's dive in. I'm going to share in this video some of my personal stories and also practical steps to really release this tendency to choose avoidance and narcissists for good so that you can have a happy, healthy love life. By the way, I have a Release to Manifest Your Love Life workbook for sale, and that will be in the description in this video. So, if you are feeling like you haven't been chosen, you feel that this person has breadcrumbed you, and what you thought you were entering into was not, this person had masks, they were being secretive, they were not, they were sabotaging when you had the special events in your life, you are not broken. Please don't think that you are broken. What happened is probably that you got bamboozled, but it has awakened some tendencies and thoughts about yourself that has come to the surface that now you are ready to heal. I will share with you my experience. I had a childhood where I didn't feel chosen. I didn't feel like I had the attention that I needed. Now, my energy healer actually told me, who is very talented, that I had given up at 3 years old. I thought my life was over at 3 years old. Now, that sounds crazy, right? How could I know, or how could I even think that my life was over at 3 years old? Well, I do remember being three. I actually have a lot of memories all the way to the crib. And I was very aware as a baby. And probably because we've had so many lifetimes, and I was like, oh, here we go again, right? So I'm not saying I'm special. I'm just saying I have memories. And so when I was three, I remember feeling like I wasn't getting the attention I needed. That was when my mom was pregnant with my brother. And then after he was born, it was very difficult for me because they made me feel like I was difficult. Now, I know that when you have kids, you have different personalities of each kid. And I'm not blaming anybody and I'm not saying I'm a victim. On the contrary, but that is what I was telling myself. And I know my parents loved me and they were really good people, but they didn't have the skills. They were from a different generation. And this was my reaction. So at a very early age, felt like I wasn't chosen. I wasn't, there was something wrong with me. That was the main feeling. There's something not right. Something, I'm not lovable. So fast forward, I chose a few partners that would reflect that back to me. I didn't realize it at the time, but the last relationship was the catalyst for the most change for me. It brought me to my knees, not necessarily just because of the relationship, but that relationship helped me to start to heal all of those wounds that I had put on the back burner. I thought I was healing. I've been on a spiritual journey since my mid 20s. I got very lucky. I have had a guru. I've had beautiful, amazing teachers along the way. I've had healers that have trained me. I am so blessed. But at my own pace, was I able to really face those wounds? And that last relationship where I was getting breadcrumbed, that person wasn't avoidant, and I believe a covert narcissist. Now, I'm not, again, I don't like to put anybody in a box. It sounds like I just did, but I feel like they have those tendencies because deep down, nobody is any of those things. But that was what I experienced. And it was what was familiar to me because my parents were exactly the same. That's why I felt so at home when I met this person. It felt like, oh my God, it was so familiar and felt like home because that's what I was used to. And what I realized later, it took me a long time to figure this out, was that when, at least in my situation, I was with an avoidant. Get this, ties into my childhood. I was with an avoidant because it felt safe to me. I didn't have to be emotionally vulnerable. I wanted that person to be emotionally vulnerable, but I couldn't do it myself because I finally saw that that emotional vulnerability, I wasn't safe, that I would be attacked, that I would be criticized, that I would be told that there was something wrong with me. And so I grew up not being able to be open and vulnerable and intimate emotionally with a man, someone that was super close to me. So I kept it at a distance, always craving it, always wanting it, but keeping it far away from me and choosing people who would reflect this back to me, number one, but they were also wounded and avoidant, to stay away from being hurt themselves because they were also hurt. So, this is what happens. And this has been my experience, is that I saw that I was just as much as an avoidant. And this is a bitter pill to swallow because narcissism is thrown around so much. And the attachment styles, oh, I'm an anxious attachment, or he's a dismissive avoidant. It's so unloving to put those titles on people. It helps to see what kind of dynamic maybe you had with that person. But if you really want to let go, if you really want to release this and create a new script and a new love life and a new version of you, you have to let that go. And that judgment towards that person that may have hurt you deeply. Because all of these things are going to keep happening to us until we look at ourselves. So if you've been with somebody who maybe betrayed you, you feel like they're a narcissist and an avoidant, and they were secretive and they did all these hurtful, awful things, that is going to really be almost in a weird way a blessing for you to really move past and to release. And it's an opportunity for you to let go and heal. I know it sounds crazy because when you're going through it, it's super painful. But I also want to assure you that if someone is going to cheat and betray you and is going to replace you, breadcrumb, whatever they're doing, they are extremely wounded and they're not connected to their heart. They're not connected to their true self. They don't know who they are. So they go around and they hurt people. If you start to wake up from this dynamic, that's your opportunity. And what I've discovered is, wow, I was really thinking he was an avoidant, but I was too. And maybe I even had some narcissistic tendencies. Now, usually when somebody has those kind of tendencies is because they're deeply hurt, more than you could ever imagine. And for them to have to look at themselves, and this is what's crazy, is if you're in a dynamic with someone like that, or you got out of it and you still are hurt and struggling to let go because you want them to apologize to you and to be accountable, imagine you're asking for almost the impossible because this person is not going to look at themselves. They're going to distract themselves to death because they can't do that kind of work. It's too painful for them. Now, can they change? Absolutely. And the way that I have found that you can absolutely have an effect on someone changing is through release, rewrite, receive, the way I do it in my work, when I work with one on ones and in groups. And how does that work? Well, basically, you're working on yourself. These are ways to release, to heal. And if that doesn't resonate with you, then there are many other ways out there. But this, for me, has been the fastest way to change my life. And so, if you are in that kind of situation where you are suffering and you feel like you can't move forward, you're out of the relationship, you've been deeply hurt, but you're still grieving or you're still trying to process everything, try this. The way I do it is I have you set an intention. When you set an intention, you are giving your mind direction. You're giving your mind a north to release anything and everything in the way. So if you want to have a healthy partnership with someone, say, I allow myself to have the perfect partner. Then you start to release what is in the way. And guess what's in the way? If you've been through some kind of relationship like that, you're going to have a lot of pain and a lot of hurt. And that's what you want to release. You want to release the projection that you have about that person, the anger, the hurt, resentment, putting them in a box, they're that. And even if it's true, even if those projections are true, because when you start to release, you're calling on your highest self, which is your soul. And you can't go wrong because this is going to free you from the suffering. So you set the intention, and it's helpful to have someone like me, a coach, by your side, helping you release not only the thoughts, but helping you energetically release the energy out of your body and to alchemize it and change it and put something back in that is going to help you to manifest what you want. So, what are you releasing? Doubt, fears. And usually, when you are releasing, like I did, I found out that, wow, I was an avoidant because I didn't want to I didn't want to be vulnerable. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's half the battle. So then you can start to open up your field for to feel safe, to start to let healthy people in. Because it was easier for me to be with unhealthy people because then I could stay safe. I didn't have to get too close. And it took me a while to realize that. And it helps to have somebody to help you to see it because it's been so subconscious. So the next step is to rewrite the script. That's the fun part. You start to write what you want. And you had written the intention. I allow myself to have the perfect relationship. What does that look like? How do you feel when you're in it? What are you doing? What are they doing? Get really specific for funsies because you're putting your order into the universe and you're clearing out your field for this to manifest. So you write what you want. And the whole entire time, you're not trying to change that person that was in your life or maybe still be in your life. You're not doing anything. You're taking your power back and you are changing yourself. And when you take your power back and change yourself, everything out there changes. You don't have to control anything about them, and you will get clarity and you will start to feel better. You'll feel happier. You're releasing for your own happiness and peace and joy and love. So when you're doing this, you will start to see your life out there in the 3D change. Then the last step is receiving. What are you receiving? A new timeline, a new version of you that has cleared out all of those wounds. And usually, when we're doing the deep dive of clearing out the limiting beliefs and doubts and fears and everything, we see, it's traced back to the parents because we make up our mind as children. So we're sponges, right? And we take on these concepts about our parents and the world and love and money and all that stuff. And so when we're releasing, we're undoing all of that. And so then you discover, oh my God, I've been holding on to this wound forever. And that's why I keep choosing these kind of people. Oh my God. Because what happens is we choose someone that doesn't work out. And then all of a sudden we meet somebody else, we think, oh, this is so much better. And then they're the same or similar in disguise. And we're, oh man, we get bamboozled, right? So, what's running the show? Subconscious, everything, those subconscious tendencies. So, you're taking your conscious mind flashlight and putting it into the subconscious mind, the attic, and you're going, all right, we're going to clear this out right now. So, those are the 3 steps. So, I want you to know that you are not broken. And when you start to release, you will start to unravel so many limiting beliefs and you will start to see your life change. If this message resonated with you, this video, you're welcome to join my community. I have a private Facebook group where you can meet new friends, you can receive more support from me, you can get to know my work, you can book private sessions, you can download my workbook, or you can join my membership, which is great. You get discounts and lots of goodies with that. And I highly encourage you to try it, experiment, because release, rewrite, receive is all just experimental. You are experimenting and seeing, is this really going to work? And I have to say, to conclude, that if you are stuck with regarding an ex and you are really struggling and you try this, I have seen this happen when people really, like, I even just had a client today say that she did the workbook and she was writing all this stuff down, and all of a sudden her ex wanted to come back. It was miraculous. That's how instant it is, because in the field of the universe, there is no time. It can be instant when you're fully released. And so if you're waiting for an apology, if you're waiting for somebody to be accountable, let go of the waiting. That's part of releasing. Let go of the waiting and wanting to have closure with someone or wanting them to come back. Let go of all of that, guys. It seems radical to the mind, but you can do it. And then see what happens. It's amazing. I've seen so many miraculous things happen. Either you find somebody new that's so much better, or that person comes back and they apologize. But it doesn't mean that you even want them back. But hey, you might get that apology. Anything is possible when you are fully released. And that is from Lester Levinson. That is the exact quote of Lester Levinson. So I hope you like and subscribe to this video, join my community, and I hope you have a beautiful day.